Welcome back to a question of confidence, where I like to take a curious look at what this elusive little fellow confidence means to each of us. And I'm loving this opportunity to delve into the minds of those that I think are probably more on the confidence side to see if they've got any tips and tricks to inspire you. And to help me on this quest for confidence today, I would like to delve into the mind of a lady who quite literally paints the confidence onto others. I promise you, all will become clear in a moment. She is CEO of Pretty Girl Makeup and also I'm Too Busy Skincare and Makeup. Please welcome to the show, Christina Flach. Hi.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me today.
Oh, it's so good to have you here. And I'm so
Thank
jealous of
you.
where you are right now. You are in a cute little top and the sun is shining, right?
Yes, I am in Miami and I am here on my last week of a 6-week TV show that I've been doing for the Food Network called The Great Food Truck Race with my client, Tyler Florence, who's a celebrity chef. So we are in our last city. Um, so I'm
Wow.
at my best friend's house. So I'm very grateful to be here and because I've been in a lot of hotel rooms. And then I was working on the Super Bowl for a week as well in Las Vegas. So I've been
Fun. Oh
here,
my,
there, and everywhere.
Las Vegas is completely nuts, isn't it?
It was very busy, but it wasn't too crazy actually, because I was working with Nickelodeon with children. So, well, 15-year-old, my two kids, the two people I working with were 15-year-olds, and they are the hosts for the Super Bowl, the Nickelodeon Super Bowl feed. So, we were pretty protected. We had people, watching over us, and we go in back ways, and so it was pretty, thank goodness, tame.
Oh, good. Well, welcome to the program. I would love
Thank you.
to find out a little bit about you. Now, I have said, as I said in my intro, you are CEO of Pretty Girl Makeup, but you are also makeup artist to the stars, right?
Yes, I am. I kind of have two careers that kind of complement each other. So I've been very blessed to work with all these extraordinary celebrities and athletes and musicians and different people. And so it's a lot of fun. So and I like to travel. I like to meet new people and be in different situations. So I love being a makeup artist, and then I love also having my 9 to 5 job of running my businesses.
How interesting to work with such different characters as well. And I'm actually really interested to know, in your opinion, who have you found is the most kind of confident or self-assured out of those athletes, these sportsmen and women, and the kind of actors and actresses?
I think probably they're all pretty, they're all I'm so blessed that I work with these incredibly successful people. And I think by the time they're where they are, they're all pretty confident in with their success. They've worked incredibly hard to get where they are. And they're the most, they're the easiest. Actually, the more famous, I find that they're the people that think that they're famous are not, and they're like a lot more challenging than the ones that are actually incredibly accomplished. They're very humble and grateful, and so that's kind of funny. You would expect it to be the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but how powerful a tool would you say? I mean, we all have our off days, right? So when you have worked with these people and you can, I presume, tell if they're having a bit of an off day or they've had a rough night or something, they come to the makeup chair and you're feeling like something is off. What can you do as a makeup artist to, as I said in my intro, paint that confidence on?
That's so a lot of my job is making people feel good from the inside out. So I have to evaluate in 3 seconds if they want to talk, if they want quiet, if they want to me to listen to them, if they need a cup of tea. I usually start out with like an aromatherapy hand massage, and that usually gets them breathing and just calming down and puts them in a nice way. And I just ask, how's your day going? And if they say awful and they don't want to talk, I just let it be. And if they are having a day and they want to chat, then we do it. I keep it light. I just kind of read. I'm very good at reading people's emotions and their feelings. So I can tell whether what they need at that moment. So it's really important, if they need some quiet, then just not speak. And then if they want something light, then we chat. It's all about the client. So it doesn't my my feelings at that time don't matter because it's all about making sure that they're happy by the time they get in front of the camera.
You talk a lot about inner beauty, I've read, but there is a lot to be said for external beauty and painting on that smile, isn't there? So you do this.
Yes.
Yeah. What are your go-tos? For instance, I work with a lot of the beauty industry, and in terms of beauty therapists, and I'm a lash artist by trade. And we go to events and we have this pressure to turn up on our social media. And this is basically where I come from. I help women like me show up on their social media with confidence because it's so important. It's such a powerful tool for your business to build that personal brand. But lots of people just do not have the confidence to do that. And yet, if I put a little bit of makeup on, or I do my hair, or I do these little tweaks, then I do feel more confident, even if I'm having a bad day. How powerful a tool do you think makeup is and those external tweaks?
I think makeup is an incredibly powerful tool. Um, we are all visual people. And I don't care what anyone says, it's superficial. Like, so why, if you're putting your best foot forward with your work ethic and making sure that you dress nicely or appropriately for work, why is it superficial to not take care of oneself? I think it's absurd to not. I think, and if it makes you feel better, why wouldn't you want to do that? So
Mm.
I think we're all, when you're feeling good about yourself, your energy changes. So when, like, I mean, believe me, an hour ago, I went on a walk. I was sweaty. I had no make. I looked a fright. But once I started, like, wash the hair, blew it out, get my makeup on, just so I feel better. And once I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, okay, I look presentable. I feel okay. I can be positive. And even though I'm feeling, I feel good about myself from the inside out. Because when I speak about the inside out, what I mean is it is super important. I think wellness and nutrition are incredibly important. And, I wake up in the morning, even when I'm traveling, and have my water and a splash of vinegar or lemon juice. I have a green juice. I have tea. Um, I make sure I exercise. I have enough, I could get enough rest. Um, and I smile and I laugh and I try to, I enjoy my life and it's happiness is a choice. And no one wants to be around someone that's in a bad mood or negative. And so it is really important to take some time. If you're going to go out into a meeting, to put your best foot forward and prepare for the meeting, why wouldn't you dress appropriately to make yourself feel good so you can be your best version of you when you go into the meeting?
It's so true what a little bit of a zhuzh can do for your mood and your energy.
Yes,
We are energy, aren't we? So,
we are all energy, definitely.
do you
So I
think,
think it's important.
yeah, absolutely. Do you think, though, that I mean, the makeup obviously is kind of a false layer, but do you think you can, in terms of your energy and what you bring, do you think you can fake it until you make it?
No, I
Mm.
mean, I think you can fake like having no makeup on and just going into a meeting like that. It's hard. I don't know if we're I don't think I'm a good enough actress to do that, but I think it helps. I don't want my makeup to be a distraction either way, whether it being on or it not being on. So I don't want when I walk into a room, people go, "Oh wow, she's got piles of makeup on." Or the same with my clients. I don't want the makeup to even really be a factor. I don't want to see it. I don't want it to stick out so much. I want the person's personality and energy to come through. So I want their makeup to be, I want the skin to be fresh and dewy and the eyes bright. And so I think what my strength is getting people to look like the best versions of themselves while the makeup not being a distraction. And I really learned that early on when I started working with a Gucci and a Louis Vuitton. They don't want, they give very specific direction from their corporate in Europe on how they want the makeup to look. They want it to be non-existent. They want it to be pretty much. They don't want it to distract. The clothes, the fashion is the focal point, not my makeup. And so I have to be. I've learned to do people's makeup very minimally, but still making them look like the best version of them
Super.
without looking like they have a ton of makeup on.
That's interesting. Now, I don't know if you've ever had lash extensions yourself, but
I have.
you see a lot of girls, women, and there's a lot of pressure on TikTok and stuff to have the biggest, fattest lashes that
I can't. They're awful. They're awful. When I see like an animal on their lid and it's so heavy, and I, first of all, I mean, I'm not an expert in this, but I just think it can't be good for your lashes if they're that heavy and, constantly doing it. I mean, they should enhance. So that's what I'm saying. It's the exact that they're distracting when they're so huge. You're just looking at lashes. You don't even see the person because they're just too much. They're off balance.
I'm wondering, I agree, and it's definitely not my vibe in the lash department, but
Mhm.
there is a fashion for it, and especially with the young girls, so go them if that's what makes them feel good. But
Right.
there is an element of hiding behind these enormous lashes, isn't there? So that would tell
Yes.
me there's something that they're maybe not 100% comfortable with on their face, and if they hide behind these huge fans, they feel kind of better. And I suppose, well, if that does make them feel more confident, is that really a problem?
No, I mean, I think if they love it, fantastic. But
Mm.
just from a health perspective on, longevity of taking care of your skin and your lashes, I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be good for them in the long run. But I did an interesting subject segment on California Live about your makeup. Like, if you don't put a little makeup on, we did a beauty dare challenge. And what the beauty dare challenge was whatever your makeup routine was, do the opposite. So if you wear a ton of makeup, take it down about 10 notches. And if you wear very minimal, why don't you take it up about 4 or 5 notches and see how you feel? And it was
Ah,
so interesting how people are so attached to how they do their makeup that when they, do more or less, how they feel. And there are a lot of emotions going on. A lot of people felt very naked. A lot of people felt too covered up. Like it, and that's what I want people to take a minute to examine. Why do you feel the way you feel? Why do you feel like with, if you wear a lot of makeup to take it down, why do you feel so uncomfortable? So I think it's a really interesting thing to do to yourself. Do a little beauty dare challenge and see how you feel taking it up a few notches or taking it down a few notches. And ask yourself, why are you feeling that way? And think about it for a
I love that. Yeah, I can see how that could be challenging. Making yourself really vulnerable, but how interesting for that journey of self-discovery, right?
minute. Right. It is. It's very interesting. So just for a week, just do the exact opposite of what you're doing and just see how you feel and examine those feelings and see where that leads you. So it's kind of interesting.
Very interesting. So, on that kind of same subject, if you kind of accept that we change as we go through our lives, and as women, when you get to a certain age, I think you can become quite set in your ways with your makeup routine, right? Doing the same old liquid eyeliner and all of that. But there has to be a certain amount of acceptance. And I'm really interested in this, being a menopausal woman myself. What are your tips to ladies of a certain age when they're re-examining their makeup routine to make them feel more confident?
Well, I think every year, like let's just say pick a day, and it could be January 1st of each year. Take a moment and just look through your makeup, see, think about like, okay, what do I do every day? What's my makeup routine? And if you are, let's say, 60 years old and you've got very pale skin and light hair and you're using a very thick, heavy liquid liner, I would examine that. And I don't think it's appropriate for every day, nor do I think it's appropriate for day. To me, a liquid liner is an evening special event type of
Mhm.
look that I think. So I think it's important to, have a day look, have a night look, and try and do something different. Just because it's makeup, you're going to wash it off. It's not going to be glued there. Try something different. Try, if I always start with, good skincare, vitamin C serum, sunscreen, and foundation. I fill in the brows, corrector under the eyes and on the lids, and, mascara and some shadow and some liner. And you want to just use colors that are neutrals, I think, is best because it just enhances your skin and your eyes. And so just take a peek at what your makeup, mascara only lasts, I like to say, 2 to 3 months. Change, swipe that out. And your eyeshadows, what colors are you using? Are they a neutral palette? Why don't you invest? You don't have to spend a ton. You can go to the department stores, obviously have a huge selection, but also now they have these amazing at the pharmacies and the CVS's and the Walgreens and the Targets of the world. They have great, very inexpensive neutral palettes. Try one and just, try it out some new colors and see how you feel.
How did you feel when you had lashes on, out of interest? Because I know lots of lash artists will be listening to this.
You know, I loved how they looked. I loved how I woke up and I looked awake. But it was really hard for me. I love to use oils on my face. And so it was very hard for me with, wanting to wash my face and use oils on my face. It was really challenging. So it wasn't a good fit for me, unfortunately, because I loved it. I didn't feel like I looked so washed out in the morning.
I mean, I feel so super confident when I have my lashes on because I feel like all I need is a little bit of under eye concealer,
Hmm.
a little dab of blusher, and some lip gloss, and I'm good to go, even if I've had a bit of a heavy night. So I think
Yes.
magical.
Oh no, they're life changing. They really are great. And I wish, and I like things really. I was ending up spending so much time with my lash lady because, and I was driving her crazy because I'm washing my face with oils and you have to take, and I tried so hard to not sleep on my, left face and everything. And just, it didn't work with my life. I'm a bruiser. Like I sleep too rough when I sleep. I want to use oil. I'm a nightmare. So she's like, you don't need them anymore. Just use your mascara. But I think they're fantastic.
Maybe a lash lift is more up your street.
Maybe.
Maybe. So does makeup make you feel more confident?
Oh my gosh, 100%. And I can't go speak, be on TV and speak on these podcasts about beauty and wellness if I'm looking like an exhausted, disheveled mess. So I have to, that's part of the deal when I want to inspire people to feel like the best versions and look like the best version. So I have to at least look like my best version when I go out and speak because no one's going to listen to me if I look like a disaster.
Can you define confidence, what it means to you? I mean, it probably means different things in different departments of your life, but
I think it's just feeling, walking into the room and just feeling, I think that's one of the beautiful things of, getting older, that you're just comfortable in your skin and you're happy and you glow and people feel your energy when you're positive and you feel nice about yourself. And so I think that's why what's important about taking care of oneself and the exercise and getting all the rest we need and eating well, drinking a lot of water, all these things make your body feel good, which, you know, shows in how your people are viewing you because when you're feeling good about yourself, people can tell.
Mhm. It's
It's not an act. It's like, oh, I like today I slept so well. I'm here at my friend's house and I slept in her guest room and it was like it wasn't a hotel and I slept so well and I woke up and I could wake up and have my tea and my juice and everything. It was like, oh, I feel like I'm home and I feel like so good. And so I think it's a lot easier for me to talk about these things and guide people into trying something new when they can see how I'm portraying, how I'm portraying myself.
well, you
Or
certainly seem to be very confident, but have you always been that way, or are there times you
I look, we all have insecurities, you know,
up on the
believe me,
spot?
I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got hit with the ugly stick. I look puffy and swollen and dark. So I believe me, I have all the same things. But then I just tell myself, like, no one wants to listen to someone that's self-deprecating constantly. I mean, I want to be confident, but yet not arrogant. Um, I want to be, I hopefully I convey myself as someone that's very grateful for all the things that have happened in my life and all these opportunities that I have. And not take them for granted. And so I believe me, I have the same insecurities everyone else does. I look in the mirror and go, oh, I need to lose a few pounds or, but I don't sit and harp on it because who cares? Like no one's really looking at me with the same scrutiny that I look at myself. And
It's
so, to think that anyone's really paying that much attention to me is absurd. No one really cares.
no one has the time anymore, do they? And yet we get so hung up
No,
showing up on
we
our.
actually think that people are looking at us like
Yeah.
no one is at all.
And when you go into the gym, a new regime, new routine, you're feeling really self-conscious in your lycra, and you're like, oh god, everyone's looking at me. They're not, are they? They're doing their own
At
stuff.
all. No. And I think that's the one thing as we get older. Like I never think that when I go work out. I just go work out. I'm like, I'm here to because it makes me feel good and I feel happy with myself and that's it. And it really makes me sad to hear that people are really going into the gym and you know, my friend that I'm at her home right now, she taught me this a few years ago and she said I was making jokes about oh my fat and my and she's like, you would never speak to anyone the way you're speaking about yourself. So it was a really good lesson for me to hear someone say that. Like, why am I going to beat myself up? I'm not like telling myself I'm the greatest thing in the world, but I don't need to be beating myself up. It's not productive and it's just not, it's a habit and it's a really not an attractive habit.
Do you know what I call that? I call that the inner bitch.
The inner bitch. Yes.
And I encourage my girls to find their inner bestie, the one that says kind and
I
love.
like that. Yes, your inner bestie. I like that. And I think that's a really good thing. I mean, no one's going to be want to be around us if we're constantly negative about ourselves or others, just it's a habit of like, don't say anything negative about someone. Like they're trying their best and who really cares?
It's true.
Let people enjoy their life.
And why we think that it's okay to say those things to ourselves. I mean, I always try and think, now, would I say that to my daughter or my best friend?
Never. Oh my gosh, never.
You would destroy them with one sentence. And yet I say those horrible things to myself all day long. It's like, that's not okay.
Right. And I've learned, I have really worked on that to just be kinder to myself and, focus on the things that I did today that were productive and not about what I didn't finish. It's really about it's just deciding how you want to look at the world. It's just looking at it from a different perspective. It's a choice to be happy. It's a choice to be sad. It's a choice to be angry. These are all choices. I choose to be happy and focus on all the good in the world.
So
And
can you
that's
choose to be confident then?
and you can choose to be confident. I think it's a choice.
Yeah, love that. So apart from the obvious ways that we can help ourselves feel more confident when we're going on our first date or heading to that interview or what have you, what other ways are there in your mind that can help you feel more confident?
I work with a lot of energy healers, and one of them taught me like before I walk into a room, I just tell myself I am beautiful and everyone loves me. I just say it to myself 3 times, and I walk into the room, and it's just you have to decide. I really believe in positive affirmations, and I think it's super important. I say a lot. I'm successful. I'm grounded. I'm determined. I'm healthy. I'm happy. I'm loved. I'm grateful. I'm wealthy. And I will say that I'll say it 3 times and I'll say it 20 times. Some days I'll say it a lot if I'm not feeling it.
Mhm.
And the universe loves me. Um, I, I just think that our brains are so powerful and we need to use them in a positive way to feel better about ourselves. Because if we keep telling ourselves, oh, I'm dumb, I'm fat, I'm ugly,
And you
you
will.
start telling yourself that, you believe it. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess I am. I
Mhm.
don't do that anymore. It's a terrible habit.
Yeah,
Very, I just think it's abusive. Why are you going to abuse yourself? It's absurd.
it is a daily practice for sure. It's not easy, but like any new skill, you can learn it, right?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I do think, and I think you would probably agree, but tell me if not, that confidence can ebb and flow throughout your life in different areas, but also with life situations, whether that is hitting puberty, whether that's having a baby, all of these big things in our lives hormones can affect your confidence. Would you go along with that? Have you had times in your life where your confidence has literally been flat?
Oh my gosh, so many times. I mean, there's days, a few days ago, I was feeling not so great and I was getting sick and I'm tired and I'm homesick and I'm like all these things. And I'm just like, ugh, like like everything seemed awful. And then I've learned that, I'm having a moment. Am I hungry? Am I tired? Have I worked out? Do I need to go distract myself, go shopping, go get my nails done, get my lashes done, go take care of me for a minute? I have learned to self soothe. And I think that's been a big thing about me that like I've learned like if I'm just not some days you flow and everything's just like magical and you're getting everything done and it's so great. And then there's other days it's just bumpy and hard. It's like, okay, let's take a minute, go for a walk, go have some lunch, get some water, do something to just shift the energy. I'll light a candle, put some music on. I just try and, and I also am really a big believer, like, I feel like our environments are super important. Like, I really believe that, I like keeping my house really tidy, and I always have flowers and candles and I have music. I like to keep my environment really light and positive, because that makes me, just by itself, it keeps me in a good positive mood. When I've been traveling, I have traveled with pictures of my family, um, and my boyfriend, that I love having them nearby. And I had some, like, there's these dollar stores here in the United States. I don't know if you have them there. And
Poundland.
okay, there you go. Okay, so I went in, and we were in these towns that are like, they had no stores, but these dollar stores. So I went in there and I got some fake flowers and I put them in these little glass jars and I brought them in my hotel room, and I brought a pretty candle and with the photos, and my sister had given me this heart pillow, and it felt like a little bit of home. So it just made me feel better about being in a hotel room for 6 weeks, because it's really challenging. So I had to figure out, okay, I'm not around my family, I'm not around my friends, I'm not around anything that's my normal. So I have to create an environment that makes me feel good, so I can take care of my client and my work, and do everything I need to do. So I've learned how to make wherever I am a place that I want to be.
Yeah, that's such a good tip. That makes so much
And it
sense.
costs nothing. It literally costs nothing. And um, $10 at that store. I bought the flowers, the little vases, I bought a really beautiful candle, and I had these frames in my, it's like, oh wow, it looks so different in here. And the energy of the room felt like it had some energy, as opposed to a hotel room that just feels dead.
Yeah, amazing. So you talk also a lot about, as I do, about pushing out of your comfort zone and how much you learn
Yes.
this comfort zone. So I'm always banging on about this. But tell me about it from your perspective and how you really had to push through that fear zone.
Yes. So I talk a lot about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. So my friend Berlin Fisher, who is my co-host on the show on California Live on NBC, when he asked me to, like, he was the beauty expert and then he became a host, and he found me to be he wanted me to be the beauty expert. And I'm like, I'm a makeup artist. I'm behind the camera. Like, I don't go on TV. Like, no, like, I'm not, terrified me. And he just said, you can do it. And you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I have so learned, and in the last 2 years since I've been doing this, getting comfortable being uncomfortable has led to so many opportunities that I didn't even realize existed. We put limits on ourselves. Why? We have to dream bigger than we even imagined, because we can do so much more if we just are open to things and saying yes. Like the year of yes. I know Chandra Rhimes had did a book on the year of yes. She said yes to every opportunity, and I do the same thing. When my agents call, regardless of how much money or what it is, I'll say yes. Um, I have never been away from home for 6 weeks, away from my family. And I normally would have said, nope, I'm not, I don't do that. But I didn't. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. It's 6 weeks. It's going to end. And it's been good for me to grow. And it has been, a lot of nights are uncomfortable. I'm alone. I'm lonely. I'm sad. I'm like, oh, I miss everything. And I miss my dog. It's really hard. But then it's like, okay, go read your book. Enjoy these moments. I just remember when I have 5 kids. When they were little, I thought, oh, what I wouldn't give for a night by myself to read my book or watch TV and what I want. So it's, again, how I chose to use these last 6 weeks. I get to watch whatever I want on TV, and I get to read my book. I get to eat in bed if I want to have a salad in bed. So it's really a choice on how you choose to deal with things. If something's not work, I don't believe in failure. I believe that there's always going to be bumps in the road. And I think that if you can just know there's no failures in life, and if something's not working out, do something else, and not judge everything in yourself. Like, okay, some things are out of our control and they're not going to work. So do something else. Sometimes when people think, oh, this is happening to me, not always. Sometimes it's happening for you. So if you can look at things like that. The other day I was supposed to go to yoga with my friend and she was late. And normally I would have been like really irritated that I didn't get to do my workout. Well, we ended up going to a different yoga class that was was a restorative yoga and slower. And it was probably what the universe thought I needed. I was fighting a cold and I didn't need to go do a beat the crap out of me workout. I had a nice restorative yoga, and I thought, so it's again how we decide to look at things, handle things, and just know that the universe has our back, and just be okay with whatever, and just not hold get be like, why are you going to choose to be angry and hold on to this stuff? It's a waste of time and energy.
I always say to my students, talking about saying yes to everything, I always say to them, for goodness sake, if go for go for all of those speaking gigs, go for those podcast guests,
Right.
just say yes and get the gig, worry about the how later. Just
Yes. We're so much more capable of doing more than we ever have thought. Like, I 5 years ago, it's almost 6 years ago, my husband passed away, and I never expected to be speaking on podcasts. I never had done that. It's not something I'm comfortable with. And it was very uncomfortable after he passed away. And then I'd start speaking about grieving and all these different things that, about my personal life that were really hard to deal with. But it really helped me work through them. I've also learned, I'm very big on nutrition and education. And so when my husband and my son passed away, I started educational funds at the Northern Lights School in Oakland, California. And it really makes me feel good to help others. It's like you're giving the gift of helping someone else, and it makes you feel good. So it's a win-win. And so I think, we can look at these situations where we're dealt lemons, and we can make some incredible lemonade or just drink sour, yucky lemon juice. So
two
these are all choices.
two incredibly huge losses there, though, Christina. You
Yes,
to get back up from that, I imagine took a lot of work.
it did. It took a lot of time and a lot of tears, and, a lot of everything. But I also know that, my other children can't, it wouldn't be, they've suffered enough, and I don't want me to add to their pain. So it's important for me, if I'm a disaster, well, it's going to affect them. So I really had to keep it together and be, a positive role model. And yes, there was a lot of faking until it was real, because it was very hard. But then I learned, like, okay, am I hungry? Am I tired? Did I work out? What am I grateful for? All these things that I know trigger me. And so if I could keep things together, it would make it easier on them. And so it was really important. I also feel that helping others, me raising money for my charities, it's not something that I talk about. My kids see me doing it, and they've all participated in raising money for the Northern Lights School for Ken and Bo's foundations, and helping other kids. And so my son Ben, Bo's twin, he raised, what was it, $71,000 in October for the school, for kids to go to private school. And he's raised over 200 in the last 8 years. So it's so remarkable to me that, this is something he doesn't even really think about and know that's a big deal. He's like, I played golf today, who cares? And I'm like, well, those 7 kids that are going to go to private school for a year, they care. Their families care, their communities care. So we don't realize that helping others, it has a trickling down. It does help make the world a better place.
Well, I there is very strong evidence for things like depression and bad mental health that the best way to get yourself out of that bad situation is to do altruistic things for others, because as you say, it's not truly selfless. It has that two-way synergy. It lifts you up and it lifts them up.
Lifts them, exactly. And
It's
I just think, like, it's something, kids really see our actions, not our words. My kids have seen me work really hard. They've seen me go through a lot of ups and downs, but they see how I conduct myself and how I treat others. And that's a better lesson for them to witness than just me saying, like, oh, I wrote a check for a charity. No, I actually got in there and
Good.
worked hard for that. So
So you obviously lead by example at home, but what I mean, do you get concerned about social media, for instance, what it's doing to our kids in
of
terms
course, no, I
of
think it's awful. I think it's just too much. There, I think there's got to be balance in life and in the world. It's so off balance. I think kids need to be outside riding their bikes or playing baseball or running around and not sitting on a phone or computer. That's why people get lazy and they gain weight and they're not exercising and they're not eating well. It's all stems from just being lethargic and not doing anything. And I think, I wish people could go back to how things were,
Mm.
20 years ago when these phones weren't such a major part of our lives.
I mean, the internet and social media is an amazing tool if you're trying to build a business, and I'm very grateful. I've built two businesses by thanks
Hmm.
to Instagram, but it is an incredible pressure, and I have lived my life. I'm 54, I think. Yeah, I'm 54, and I have had that freedom. There wasn't Facebook and everything when I was growing up. I could make all of my mistakes and it wasn't documented all over social media. So I feel like I had that blessed phone-free existence, and now I'm using it to my advantage. But these kids coming up, I really do think that there is a there's so much body dysmorphia and negativity around looks. I've seen it with my own girls, and it's just this it's the lies that we're fed by social media. I mean, I am an advocate for it, but I do worry about our youngsters because I know how to connect with other humans because I've been doing it my whole life, but I really feel like there is this lack of human connection because of social media with the kids, right?
Right. But I think it's the parents, it's their job and their duty to be like, okay, monitor it. You don't need, you're 8 years old. You don't need a phone. Go outside and play. But again, if our kids just see us sitting on our phones, scrolling and Instagramming and TikToking, well, that's what you've taught them to do. So don't be shocked when they don't go outside and play and that they're sitting on their phones. And that, they're going to emulate whatever they see of us. So it really is important for us to be adults and have balance in our lives. How are we going to teach balance in our kids' lives if we don't have it in our own? If
Balance, balance
we
and
don't
balance.
eat well, if we're not eating well, if we're not taking care of ourselves, our kids see that. So whatever you do, you're delusional to think that your kids aren't noticing. They notice everything. Pardon me.
So true, they do. So, Christina, it's been lovely. Just before we finish up, I would just like to know that when you're at a low ebb, not feeling like putting yourself out there, and you have touched on this a little already, but what are your three favorite ways to boost yourself up, to get you in the mood, whether that's emotional, physical, or mental?
Okay, so if I'm just feeling I will be like, okay, I'm probably hungry and I need some water. And I'm going to go to a yoga class. I'm going to go outside and hike. I'm going to go hit some golf balls. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go do something and get some fresh air and start moving around. And that I'll put on music is a huge thing for me. I will turn on some music that makes me happy and I'll go work out in the gym. I'll do something to just start moving around. And then I always feel better.
Favorite genre of music?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. It just depends on my mood. But like when I'm working out, I like to hear Prince. I want something loud and positive. I have all kinds. I like classical when I'm working out. I like jazz at night or Frank Sinatra. It just depends on what. I just think music it can really change your mood.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you have a very eclectic taste, obviously.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So, what three tips or strategies do you like that others might be able to try for increasing confidence, or even if that's faking it until they make it? Ideas for when they're feeling nervous, or maybe they don't feel like showing up on social media, but they really know that it will be good for their business if they did. I mean, do you have anything that they could try?
I would just take a moment and just think of something positive that you've done or accomplished that you're proud of and just do it. Or maybe take a little break. If
Mhm.
you're really like not feeling it, take a little breaks. It's better to take a little break than to put something out that's not so great. And just think about what you're grateful for and choose, be happy. I will light a candle, I will make a cup of tea, I will go sit outside. Just get change. Sometimes we just need to change where we're working. Sometimes going, to Starbucks or somewhere else to work, or go to a friend's house and work in their living room or something. Sometimes that's all you need. You sometimes just need to change your environment, or just jump in the shower, take it all off, take off that energy and just change some clothes. Sometimes that even helps.
Do you like cold showers? Talking of showers, do you do that? Do you do the ice bath thing?
Yes, the cold plunging. Yes, I have cold plunged in the shower and in the ocean, and it's awfully painful, but I do feel better doing it. It's really a great cold showers are great. It's better for your skin. Hot water will dry out your skin, and you certainly don't want to use hot water on your hair. It is like burning your hair. It'll also keep your hair, if you color your hair, washing it and conditioning it with cold water is the best thing for it.
Can you rinse the conditioner out with cold water? I always think it doesn't work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just did it today. It is the best thing for your hair. It closes your follicles. It is just the best. It doesn't burn, too hot is going to dry out your scalp, dry out your hair. It's not going to be as shiny.
That's very interesting because I take showers that nobody else can get into because they're so hot.
I go back and forth. Like I don't really want to be in a free, like today when I washed my hair, I will stand back and lean into the cold water that just my head will feel the freezing, like the painful. And then I just try to turn it down and not do it so hot. Because I mean, there's days when you just want a hot shower and that's great. But on the whole, I really do try to not be sitting in really hot water. But I do love a hot bath. That's another thing I'll do especially when I'm traveling. DoorDash is amazing. I can order a sack of Epsom salt and I will take a hot salt bath. And that always helps me sleep and calms me down. And I feel really good. So
Okay. Anything else?
buy yourself some flowers. I'll do that sometimes. If
Love?
I'm alone, I'm like, I'm going to buy myself some flowers today. It's going to make me happy.
Love it. And if you could only take one makeup product and that would be it forever, one makeup item, what would it be?
Concealer for sure. I don't know, concealer and mascara. I need to. I'm sorry. I can't do one. Concealer just gets rid of the under eye discolor, the upper eye discoloration, and mascara. It's amazing when your lashes, pardon me, how your lashes make you look so much better. You're like awake.
It's so true. Um, Maybe you need to come out with a product that is one end and mascara the other end if you can only take one.
Yes.
Christina, it has been so lovely to speak to you. Thank you for taking time out of your day to talk to us all.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.